Hey, what's up? So today I'm going to do a movie review for Halloween 2018. I looked at all the videos I had and discovered that I hadn't done it yet. So now's the time. Yesterday I bought the movie and rewatched it. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I liked about it and some of the things that I disliked. So first I'm going to say what I didn't like about the movie, and that was there were some flaws in the script. Like for example, in one of the scenes, a girl is babysitting a young black boy. So well, actually, let me start off by talking about the plot briefly. So at the end of Halloween 1978, John Carpenter's film, Michael Myers gets shot and he falls off the balcony. And then he gets arrested. And then in this movie he has been in Smiths Grove Sanitarium for 40 years. And Laurie Strode, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis, has been preparing for him by gathering a bunch of weapons and securing her house with lights and other kinds of barricades throughout the room. And she's got a whole bunch of guns and all that kind of stuff. She had a daughter and a granddaughter. Her daughter is grown up and married, and her granddaughter is like a senior in high school. So it shows their relationship a little bit. And in this movie, Michael is visited by two journalists in the beginning while he's in the asylum. And they show him his mask and ask him to speak, but he doesn't say anything. And then they go to visit Laurie for an interview, and she doesn't really talk much either. But long story short, Michael is being transported from Smiths Grove Sanitarium into another facility, and his bus crashes. Then he walks around in Haddonfield and kills people until he finally runs into Laurie, and then they both fight at the end. So that's basically the movie in a gist. But one of the problems that I had with the plot was that there's a scene in which one of Laurie's granddaughter's friends, whose name is Vicky in the movie, is babysitting a little black child in his house. and when the black child is tucked into bed, he's having a hard time sleeping because he realizes that Michael is in the closet. I mean, he sees Michael walking around somewhere, and then he goes to his babysitter for help, and she looks into the room. And then she kind of makes fun of the whole thing, and eventually she finds out that Michael is there, and she gets killed. But I have a problem with this scene because this movie is it should be very serious after Michael's bus crashes, because the whole town is in danger, and they shouldn't have added humor in that scene. Now I think they could have added a little bit of humor in the beginning of the movie, which was fine, like with Laurie's son-in-law. There's a scene in which he makes a funny comment at his house. But one of the things that I didn't like about the babysitter getting killed was that it was being done while the lights were on. But in the original 1978 Halloween movie, in the first movie, all the kills were in the dark. So that's what made that movie scarier. And then a lot of the other Halloweens. And then another thing that I thought was strange was when Michael was chasing Allison, who is Laurie's granddaughter, through the neighborhood. One of the officers and Dr. Sartain, who is Michael's psychiatrist, and also Dr. Loomis's student from the first film, they drive up. They drive to Michael and hit him with a car. And also Allison is in the back of the police's car as well. But once the car hits Michael, they get out of the car, and Dr. Sartain kills the officer. Then he puts on Michael Myers' mask and drags Michael into the back seat next to Allison. I thought this scene was somewhat unnecessary, and it was just a strange plot twist. But other than that, I liked mostly everything about the movie. Especially like the manner in which they show some of the dead bodies after Michael has killed the people. And some of the on-screen kills were also very good. Like near the start of the movie, then after Michael's bus crashes, when he's killing the journalists, I like the part where he's smashing the guy's head all over the bathroom walls and on the bathroom stalls as well. So I thought that was awesome. And in one of the scenes when Michael is walking around town, he goes inside one of the ladies' houses, and he kills her with a hammer. Although that is off screen, but we can hear like the bashing noises and the table shaking. We see the table shaking when he's in the kitchen. And then he grabs a butcher knife and he walks past her. That's when we see her dead body. So there's blood all over the table and she's just laying on it. I thought that was awesome. And many of the other corpses were nice to see as well. And then another on-screen kill that I like was Dr. Sartain, when he drives Michael and Allison to Laurie's house. He stops in the middle of the road, and then he says Judith, who was Michael's older sister in the first movie. The second he says that, Michael wakes up and puts his mask on, and then he kicks the metal guard in the police car right into the back of Dr. Sartain's head, and he just slams his head against the steering wheel really hard by like kicking it. Then he drags him out of the car, and Dr. Sartain tells him to say something, and he just stomps on his head and smashes it like a grape. I thought that was a very cool kill. So I think the cinematography and all that kind of stuff was very good in this movie. They used the movie sets were very well designed, and it really felt like it was Halloween. It was good. But it's like I said, one of the things that they could have improved on was having the kills being done in more of a darker setting. Like in the first movie, the houses were dark, all the lights were turned off and dimmed. I think the acting by James Jude Courtney as the new Michael Myers was amazing. Maybe even better than the original Michael Myers. But he was actually coached by Nick Castle, who was in the first 1978 film. So I have seen all of the other films in the series, except for Halloween 3, the Season of the Witch. I've seen and I think that one of the things that this movie was trying to do was that it was making shout-outs to the previous movies. Like there's a gas station scene in this movie that seems like it's similar to Halloween 4. If you watch that movie, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But what we're supposed to do is ignore all of those movies because this is supposed to be a direct sequel. which takes place 40 years after the events of the first film. And overall, I think they did a really good job with this movie. One of the other kills that I really liked was when Michael goes into the house of one of the ladies, and she's talking on the phone, and then after she's done talking on the phone, she walks over to the window in her living room, and while she's looking out of it, Michael comes up from behind her and grabs her from the back, and then he slams her head on the sofa, and he stabs a knife right through her neck. So I thought that was a really good on-screen kill. But I think it had like the perfect level of violence in it. It wasn't overwhelmingly gory, but at the same time it wasn't too mild either. So I would have to say this movie was better than all of the other sequels. So I would rank this movie second after the first 1978 film. So if you haven't seen this movie, I do recommend that you watch it. It's very entertaining. And there's going to be another film coming out called Halloween Kills, which will be in October of this year. I'll go see it in the theater, and then I'll try to make a review of that right after, or I might wait till it comes out on a streaming service so that I can rent it or buy it. But I'd probably rate this movie at an 8 out of 10 because it had a few flaws, but it was still an overall very good movie. Alright guys, so that is my review for Halloween 2018, which was by David Gordon Green and Blumhouse Productions. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.